Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, here in New York City at 8th Cloud Expo, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're watching this general session out there on the World Wide Web. We have one of the better titled presentations, Who Keeps the Cloud in the Air? What can they possibly mean by this? Two gentlemen all the way fresh from the Netherlands, Vincent in 't Veld and Jelle Frank van der Zweet. And they'll tell me how close I was to really saying their names.
All right, very good.
Take it away.
Close. This far out.
Well, welcome New York. We're really proud to be here and be a gold sponsor at Cloud Expo. But, well, we're from the Netherlands. We work for Interxion. So, Vincent, maybe you can give a little introduction to Interxion.
It's probably needed. I've heard people pronounce our names in 10 different ways for the past days. So we're going to do it right this time and make sure we introduce ourselves as a company. It's only 2 slides, but here we are. So our company is called Interxion. We're Europe's leading service provider in co-location services. We're a data center provider. We're actually spreading 11 European countries. We operate in 13 cities, and we own 28 data centers with over 60,000 square meters of equipped space in Europe. So that's our footprint, if you like. Now, one of the characteristics of all these data centers and the common denominators across our data centers is that they are built at the confluence of fiber networks. They house, on average, 40-plus networks, be it ISPs, Tier 1 ISPs, CDNs, Internet exchanges. So they're very well-connected data centers. And that's basically the common denominator across all these 28 data centers. So wherever you go with us, in whatever city we operate, that's how we do it. One of the next facts we're actually very proud of is that we're a financially very stable company. Even in the economic downturns, in the last 18 months, we've seen our revenue grow quarter on quarter, and also our profit are still very healthy. And that says something. Early this year, we had a very, very important moment in our company's life cycle. We got listed on the New York Stock Exchange, which didn't happen to a Dutch company for the past 5 years. So we were out there. We beat many of our companies in the market. Why is that important to us? Well, it allows us to basically continue to scale and expand our data center capacity in Europe, make sure we serve the needs of our existing customers, and be attractive to potential new customers in Europe. That's it.
Well, before we continue on sharing some of the insights on the European market with you, this morning we sent out a press release about a transatlantic cloud computing data center alliance we have formed with CoreSite. So it's my pleasure to invite here on stage David Dunn, Senior Vice President of CoreSite. David, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it, Vincent.
Hey, welcome. Can you introduce CoreSite to us?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's not nearly as exotic as Jelle Frank here, but again, David Dunn, SVP of Strategy and Marketing for CoreSite. For those of you who are not familiar with CoreSite, we're a U.S. data center and colocation provider. We've got about 2 million square feet under management in 7 U.S. markets. And what we think makes us special than maybe some other data center providers you're familiar with, we not only work on doing larger storage and compute nodes, but also focus on the network and specifically building customer ecosystems, whether it's cloud, media, financial exchange, and carrier.
So, Vincent, what does this alliance mean for Interxion customers?
Well, to me, the bottom line is that if customers are looking to deploy infrastructure, are looking to house applications, are looking to distribute applications and content to eyeballs or enterprises, then understanding the local market, understanding the local telecommunications infrastructure in that particular market is a key asset. We, as Interxion, don't have that knowledge in the US, but we do get demand of our customers in Europe who are growing and using the opportunity in North America or in Asia. So we're reliant on the knowledge and understanding of that market of partners. And CoreSite obviously is one of the trusted and leading providers here in the US market with all the connectivity in-house. So we feel very confident with the eco-business model of carrier neutrality that CoreSite is capable of serving our customers here in the US whenever demand comes up. And we'd like to do the same thing vice versa in Europe.
So, David, what are the benefits for CoreSite customers for this alliance?
Yeah, I mean, we're similar to what Vincent said. I'll second that. Our cloud segment, we're seeing increased globalization as our customers look to scale globally. And to do that, I think it's important that as a US-based company, We can do certainly a warm handoff, not only to different partners around the world, but specifically to companies that look at the business in a similar fashion. Both Interxion and CoreSite have a customer intimacy strategy about building community and a focus on network, not just space, power, and cooling.
Well, now we have you on stage. I got one more question. Can you share with us some of the trends you see here in the American market?
Yeah, we're seeing two things that cloud companies and people in the cloud space probably should be focused on, or people that are trying to tackle a couple things. One is revenue, and the other is improved operations. On the revenue side, it's all about network. It's about increasing reliability and decreasing latency. And on the operations side, it's about improving your supply chain. Not a lot of people are talking about that right now, but if you have a consumption-based revenue model, then you need to match, you want to match your core expenses up in an increasing fashion. So you might think about scaling, your hardware purchases, but also, data center being an increasing portion of share of a cloud-based company's expense, increasing that as you grow your revenue base.
I can completely adhere to that. I mean, it's the same we see in Europe. Some of the forecasting models of customers we work with all show the same trend, right? That's where we all want to be. But to find a provider and find the right space and environment and the right connectivity to allow you to make that growth without paying for it on day one, that's where we try and build partnership relationship with those customers.
Yeah, and we've done that with a couple here in the U.S. Servant we announced publicly, and another company, Layered Technology, the ability to scale again as their revenue and customers grow, and scale not only in one location but potentially geographically and now across continents. So
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you. So Jelle, at the start of this presentation, you made a promise, right? You're going to give and share some insight into the European market. I'll take it away.
Let's take it away. Well, over the past few months, we've done a survey amongst not only our customers, but amongst companies throughout Europe. And our goal was to do a survey in all the countries that we are present to get a clear overview of the European market. We will publish the results somewhere in July, so some of them are still preliminary, but we would like to share some of these results with you today. So first of all, let's take a look at what the cloud is today in Europe. And we'll start with some figures. Oh. I think we're missing a slide here. Well, let's go on. When looking at the market in Europe, there's also the opportunity of looking at the market in the US. And when we looked at surveys around, you can find free on the internet, you can find a lot of information. So what we did was we looked at Europe, and we looked at the United States. And taking a look at factors driving cloud investment, ranking number one reason is the reducing cost of infrastructure. So it ranks number one in a survey in Europe by 78%. And if we look at the United States, also ranked number one with a slightly lower percentage. But if you look at a region like business continuity and disaster recovery, it only ranked number 4 in Europe with 29%, and it was the number 2 ranked in the United States. Well, one of the reasons for this, obviously, that moving your stuff into the cloud keeps you thinking about business continuity and disaster recovery. I'm not saying it's not there today, but Europe is in that way, I think, between 1 and 2 years behind to the United States. Another thing we looked at was obstacles to cloud implementation for companies. And obviously, number 1 is lack of security. But if you look at the percentage, and that's the United States, there's a much, much higher percentage. And I think the most surprising thing is vendor lock-in. This is something in Europe we see as the number 2 reason, and it was only ranked number 7 in the United States. So this is something that European companies are really trying to avoid, and for them it's an opportunity in the cloud, not being dependent on a vendor lock-in. So that's about cloud today. More interesting, of course, is looking at tomorrow. What are the trends? So I'll take you through some numbers and then we come to the analysis we made. Very simple question, what type of cloud are you likely to deploy? And as you can see, a very high percentage covers private and hybrid cloud. And we defined hybrid cloud very simple as public and private cloud combined. So this is about 79%. And the second question we asked is, when you're considering a hardware refresh, and we all know this comes up every 3 or 4 years, Are you likely to choose a cloud hosting provider, or would you choose to buy physical hardware again? And as you can see, we have a pretty much high percentage of 90% that is likely to go to a cloud hosting provider. So let's combine these two. And let's take the private cloud part, and we included the hybrid cloud, which obviously covers the private cloud as well. And doing a union analysis with the results of type of cloud, of the choosing a cloud hosting provider or physical hardware refresh, 89% of the market is likely to choose a cloud hoster in the next 24 months. So what does this mean? Well, looking at the European market and looking at cloud, basically there are two players. There's the service provider and the system integrator. And looking at a cloud hosting offering, that's typically for a service provider. And these system integrators, they would like you to buy the hardware. They provide the services, they do the implementation, they do the whole virtualization layer. And today they make a pretty decent money making some margin on reselling hardware and software. And what this definitely shows is that that market will change. So where is the opportunity in that? Well, we think there should be a collaboration between the system integrators and the service providers, because otherwise a lot of the business will go away from the system integrators to the service providers. But looking at all these opportunities, what can bring Interxion to the table?
Well, let's try and explain that. Rightly so, at the end of the day, Interxion is a provider of power, space, and ping, as we say it. So we guarantee the uptime and availability of the platforms to our customers. So this is traditionally the market we're in. But we go beyond these days. I mean, the data centers, if you lift the roof of a data center today, and it's quite fascinating to see what's happening inside that data center. Everyone is connected to everyone almost, and the flows of traffic in terms of traffic exchange, traffic distribution, buy, supply, it all comes together in the data center. So it's really a community place. It's a marketplace where people are doing business with each other and where people are trying to move the value chain as close as possible to the end user of applications and the consumers of content. So there's layers to what we contribute. And the rock bottom of what we contribute is obviously the guarantee of that uptime. I mean, we've been building, designing, and developing data centers since 1998. We're even famous for our modular design approach. I think everyone does that today. 2N configurations, full power backup, N+1 cooling systems. So all the bare bones which are needed to be guaranteed and to be secured that your platform is going to be up and running, that's what we're good at. That's our bread and butter. And that's what 95 or over 95% of the people day in, day out of our company are involved in, with 350 people across Europe. Now, so co-location and on top of that, the customer service. When you do business in Europe, and looking at the market in Europe, which is a very fragmented market, I mean, Europe is not one market. If you're looking at Europe as an opportunity, see it as 15 different opportunities. You will need to localize and adapt your offering to the European market depending on what kind of end customers you want to go to. In some markets, you will have to work with the SIs because they own the customer relationships. Some markets are far more open to doing online business and source direct infrastructure from an online website, but there will be those local differences. And also, from a customer service perspective, we try to ensure that if you're coming to Europe and you want to do business in multiple countries, at least from your bare bone infrastructure perspective, from your data center perspective, that there's one entity, there's one layer, there's one service desk who helps you 24/7 and has local engineers on site to ensure your infrastructure remains up and running. So those are the bare backbones of what we do and how we operate. On top of that, in-house, we provide you access to the connectivity providers. We house over 350 carriers, unique carriers and ISPs, and 20 internet exchanges across the whole of Europe, which provides you the choice and flexibility. So we're the largest. You think that's bold?
I think that's a bold statement, yes.
Well, let me prove it. I mean, without mentioning names here, I mean, we have over twice as more carriers and ISPs in-house than our main US competitor. We have by far the most internet exchanges in Europe inside our data centers, core nodes of the internet exchanges for private peering or public peering, offloading your traffic to the eyeball, to the end consumer of your application or content. So it may be bold, but at the end of the day, facts don't lie. Zooming in on that carrier density and zooming in on that connectivity, which is a pivotal part of what we propose. We don't service connectivity. We don't offer connectivity. We don't touch it. Right? We don't sell it. We don't resell it. It's business of the customers who are inside of our data centers. But it's important to understand that for all your connectivity needs, whether it's for aggregation of content or for interconnecting your platforms on a global scale or interconnect your enterprises on a global scale, you need wavelength services, Ethernet services, dark fiber services, like big fat pipes to cross the Atlantic, for example, transatlantic Europe, US. So we got the global carriers in-house. We got the US carriers in-house, which you may be familiar with coming from a US origin. We got the domestic ISPs, which are the access to the eyeballs. They have the broadband access, be it cable, be it DSL. We got all of the mobile operators in-house, which are more and more important if it comes down to distribution of apps and distribution of content. And there's the CDNs, who will help accelerate the content and the performance of the applications when you do business. So via our neutral room, which we call the Meet Me room, if you deploy your IT infrastructure in an Interxion data center, with one cross-connect, you have access to this variety and width of carriers who can provide you all the bandwidth and connectivity requirements you have.
So how brings this us to the opportunity? First of all, I talked to you about the system integrators. And in Europe, they are the far most important channel towards the large and medium-sized enterprises. And let's take, for example, a service like a virtual desktop, which can be serviced over the cloud. Well, in those terms, coverage is very important, and having a low latency network in place gives you the possibility to maintain a very high customer satisfaction level. So coverage in that term is very important to make your business case and keep customers satisfied. But secondly, for example, if you're a service provider or you're offering services to the consumer market, you want to reach out to the eyeballs. So it's not like putting up a website and think, oh, everyone will come. With our data centers, with our connectivity, we can reach over more than 90% of all the broadband connections. And that's 30% more than most of our competitors are in Europe. So think about when you build your business case for Europe and how you're going to reach to your end users and end customers. So besides building a business case, how do we help? Just last week, we announced a very interesting project we're doing with Microsoft, HP, NLIX, they're an internet exchange in the Netherlands, KPN, they're the incumbent telecom provider in the Netherlands. And what we build is a cloud test lab. And this is probably the first of many to come. And together with Microsoft, we built an environment based on the Windows Azure and the Dynamic Data Center Toolkit. And we target this at mid-tier hosters in Europe, giving them the opportunity to upgrade their offering to their customers. Because if you look at America and you look at the list of service providing infrastructure as a service, you get a long list. If you look at Europe, we're a little bit behind, but there's still a lot of web hosters and email and domain service providers, and they all need to upgrade their services. And this is the ideal way of we, together with Microsoft and HP and all our other partners, in helping this market get along and move forward. So one of the things we hope is that we can build more of these cloud test labs in the future. And we're open for partnerships. So is your next stop Europe? How to address the European market? Well, we have some simple advice, not only based on our research, but also based on our experience in helping customers make their business in our data centers. So create a physical presence, develop local channels, whether it's with service providers or system integrators. It's about building partnerships. It's about collaboration. I think we've explained the opportunity well enough. I think we've shown to you that our data centers are the best you can get in Europe. So where does it leave us today? We're here to help you. We hope you can help us.
Yeah, and Jelle mentioned the word invitation a couple of times. We're here the next couple of days at booth number 110, and we really would like to welcome people who are looking at a business opportunity in Europe, looking to build out infrastructure, want it to be at the right place where you can interconnect with the right networks and reach your end customer. And if you're interested in talking to us, we're out there. The results of our cloud survey, which we gave some insights to, will be fully available from July. And if you leave your business card with us, we're more than happy to freely distribute those results to you. So please register at our booth, and we welcome the conversation. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, New York.
Thank you.